Robert was a farmer. He had a small farm and worked hard every day. He loved his wife, Laura, very much. They had 2 children, Ben and Lily. When Robert was a little boy, his mother died. After that, his father took care of him. They were very close. But some years ago, his father also passed away. Robert missed him a lot. Even with the sadness, Robert was happy with his family. They lived a simple and peaceful life on the farm. One evening, Robert came back from the town market. He knocked at the door, and Laura, who was busy in the kitchen, quickly wiped her hands and brought him a glass of water. Robert sat down in the lounge. Ben and Lily were doing their homework at the table. When they heard the knock, they jumped up at once.
Papa!
Ben shouted.
Papa, Papa!
Lily called, running with her notebook still in her hand. They gathered around Robert, their eyes shining with excitement. Robert smiled and took a few sips of water. Then opened his bag.
I brought something for you,
He said, handing them little wrapped gifts.
Yay! Thank you, Papa!
Ben said, tearing his open.
I love it.
Lily said with a smile, hugging her toy. Robert laughed. Then looked at Laura and said,
Sorry, Laura. I forgot to bring something for you.
Laura smiled barely and said,
It's okay.
then turned back to the kitchen without saying more. After dinner, they went to bed. Laura lay facing the other side. Robert watched her in the dim light and smiled. He pulled something from under the pillow and said,
Laura. This is for you.
Laura turned around, surprised. He was holding a small, beautiful bracelet.
Oh, really? But you said you forgot.
She said, sitting up with wide eyes. Robert laughed and said,
How can I forget you?
Laura smiled warmly. And they both laughed together. One evening, Robert walked home from the farm. Under a tree, he found a mirror. He looked inside, and gasped.
Father.
He whispered. Inside the mirror, he saw his father's photo. Robert kissed it, tears filling his eyes.
Maybe your soul left this here for me.
He said softly. He hid the mirror in his coat and went home. He placed it carefully in a wooden box. One day, Laura found that box and saw a photo of a woman inside the mirror. She stared at it, trembling. Then began crying. When Ben and Lily returned from school, she was still crying.
Your dad is cheating on me.
She shouted.
He loves someone else. Look at this photo.
Ben and Lily stood frozen, shocked by what they saw. That evening, Robert came home from work. Laura shouted.
You are cheating on me. You loved someone else this whole time.
Her voice was full of pain. Robert was shocked.
No, Laura. No, I love you. What's going on?
He said. Laura shoved the mirror into his hands.
I saw the photo. Why did you hide it?
She cried. Robert's face turned pale as he looked at the photo of the woman.
I don't know.
He stammered. Just then, a priest who lived nearby heard the shouting. Anne came in.
What's going on here?
He asked. Robert looked at him, desperate.
Father. I don't know what's happening. Please, help me.
Then Robert told him everything. The priest smiled.
This is a magic mirror. It shows the faces of those you love. Robert saw his father's face. Daughter, did you ever see your grandmother?
Laura shook her head. The priest smirked.
The mirror showed you your grandma's face. Now give it to me. It shouldn't stay in your home.
He took the mirror and left. But his mind was already plotting something. The priest started telling the villagers.
If anyone wants to see the face of a loved one, come to me. I will only charge a little fee.
A man came and said,
I want to see my father's face.
The priest smiled and handed him the mirror. The man looked and shouted,
Oh no! It's my father's killer's face!
The priest panicked.
Oh. It means your father wants you to take revenge.
He said quickly.
From that man's children.
He added. The man nodded, paid the fee, and left. The priest whispered with a sly smile.
Good. The mirror is showing the faces of enemies. I can use this.
Soon, the villagers found out the mirror showed their enemies' faces.
Pay me, and I will show you the truth.
The priest said proudly. People paid him high fees. Gold and gifts poured in. The priest became the richest man in the kingdom. One night, he whispered to himself,
Now, I want to become the king.
One day, the king heard about the magic mirror.
I will see my enemy's face and destroy him.
He whispered. He called for the priest. Soon, the priest stood in court, bowing low.
Here. Your Majesty.
The priest said, handing the mirror. The king looked inside. His eyes widened.
You!
The king roared.
The priest is my enemy! Guards! Arrest him!
The priest fell to his knees.
No! No! Your Majesty! I swear, I am loyal!
But the guards grabbed him and threw him into prison. Moral: greed brings ruin in the end.